movie nerds, and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, a podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about the live action, Pinocchio movie that just dropped. What can I say about Pinocchio? I really like Tom Hanks. I don't know what else to say about this movie. I'm mortified by how terrible it is. I can't remember really feeling one way or another about Pinocchio when I was a kid. I watched it quite a few times, but I don't remember it being like my favorite. I remember sometimes it sort of creeped me out. So seeing like a live action version of a somewhat darker Disney story was a little bit like weird and creepy, especially because I feel like the majority of the characters here are not like real people. It's not like they did like a live action. Tom Hanks and a couple of other characters are real, but everyone else is just a voice actor for a character in the film, which makes sense. I mean, obviously you have like Jiminy Cricket, who I don't know how they would have, you can't just put someone in a suit or something. So it has to be CGI, but the CGI in this is like awful. It's like cartoon level awful, which I think is the point, right? Because it's Pinocchio, it's a cartoon. I cannot imagine a kid enjoying this movie, and all the way like peppered throughout it is so much, I don't even know if political is the right word for it, but just like it's a children's movie, but a lot of the stuff that they say in it, like a lot of the lines are very much something that I don't think kids would grasp or understand. It's like, it's definitely pushing a narrative, but I couldn't tell which narrative it was trying to push, if that makes sense. And it was boring. It was really boring. I don't remember the cartoon being boring as a kid, but they changed a lot of this movie to make it into a live action. And it's been quite a few years. I will admit it's been quite a few years since I've seen the cartoon Pinocchio. I don't even think watching the cartoon again would have improved the live action version. It hurts my feelings so much to say that I don't like it, because I think that Tom Hanks is a really great actor and I have enjoyed the vast majority of his films. I cannot think of why he took this role unless, times are tough and there's some slim pickings for Tom Hanks, but I cannot imagine that being the case. And this movie has like a cast that I feel like doesn't make sense for the level of terrible that it is. Joseph Gordon-Levitt does the voice for Jiminy Cricket. You've got Keegan-Michael Key, who plays in this, and he plays the Fox character, or he does the voice for the Fox character. You have a lot of people in here that I feel like are good actors in their own right. Now, of course, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I don't know that I've seen very many movies of his recently that have been particularly great that I can think of off the top of my head. But like, I can't help but think everybody in this movie deserved better than what this movie gave them. Like they are not this level of film, if that makes sense in any way, shape, or form. I don't know if I'm just confusing everyone, but wow. I mean, I sat through this movie and I kept sort of expecting something, right? Where there would be a moment where I'd be like, that's why they made it a live action. But the entire time through it, I kept like having this reoccurring thought in my head that I was like, oh, live action Pinocchio was just a way for Disney to show off Disney, like all of his cuckoo clocks are just different Disney films. And I don't remember if that was the case in the cartoon or not. But it's like they would constantly show you these cuckoo clocks so that you could see he's got a cuckoo clock for Dumbo, and he's got a cuckoo clock for Maleficent. He's got a cuckoo clock for, Lion King and all of this stuff. And I'm like, why do we need that in here? Like, do you want me to go watch those instead? Because I can think of a dozen other Disney films I'd rather watch than this one. Like, stop reminding me that I'm wasting my time watching a bad one. Like, it just didn't make any sense. This one probably hurts me the most to see. I don't Because I feel like they did, the remake for The Lion King, which was also CGI, but it like made it a little bit more realistic. It wasn't like a live action. There were no legitimate people in that one. But I kind of thought that was sort of ish the direction that they were feeling about going with Pinocchio, right? They were going to remake it and that it was going to be better, maybe, or at least more modern, because a lot of these old Disney films were obviously made in like the 1950s and things like that. So, to bring it up to the current times, you kind of have to tweak things and change things. And that makes sense to me. That I'm fine with. You want to appeal to another audience, to a younger, group of kids that are now kind of getting into Disney and might not really understand the older films. But I honestly think like I would show my child the 1950s Pinocchio before I would ever show them the 2022 Pinocchio. Like it's just so bad. It's just so bad. I don't know. You guys are going to have to let me know what you thought of the Disney remake of Pinocchio. I was not a fan. Yeah, so subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family. Leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of Pinocchio, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode.